Well, good morning and welcome to Over the Vast Nurseries. I'm David Wilson and I'm out here in the middle of our nurseries on a beautiful, crisp, cool morning in autumn time. It's a joy to be outside here, surrounded by all of these beautiful plants. Now, if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. But if you're somebody who's just viewing this video for the first time, can I suggest that you think about subscribing to our channel, because we're busy posting new videos like this one all the time. And when you're a subscriber, you'll find that then each time that we post a new video, they will turn up automatically in your feed. Now, as you can probably hear in the background with the hammering, we're busy getting our plants prepared for winter time, so that when we send them out in the springtime to all of our partnering garden centres that are located right throughout our region, that's the mid-Atlantic and northeastern states of the US, they'll be in perfect condition for you to take a look at and perhaps select and plant in your garden. We grow, of course, all sorts of things here, trees and shrubs and perennials, and all sorts of ornamental grasses too. And one of the things that you may notice here to my right is this lovely batch of a variegated miscanthus that's part of our WorryFree collection. And when you look at the pots and look at the tags on the plants, you'll see that we have on there solutions for success. And one of the things about this collection is that it addresses some particular issue that's going on in our gardening industry. And with these particular plants here, this is invasiveness. Now, thankfully, our professors and boffins at the universities have been able to come up with forms that do not seed into the landscape, and that means that it alleviates any concerns that we might have about plants that seed out into the landscape. And as you look along here, you'll see this lovely variety, which incidentally is Miscanthus bandwidth, and elsewhere in our garden we have some very nice pennisetums, fountain grasses, that are also non-invasive. And then over in another part of the nursery we have some beautiful compact growing little barberries that have been developed at the University of Connecticut by Professor Brand and his team there, and they also are now able to be planted into the landscape without any concern for them seeding into the landscape. So that's one aspect of what we do with our WorryFree collection of plants. But there's other things too. And in fact, we're working now on a whole selection of plants that addresses and really comes forward with solutions for other issues and problems that might be going on with garden plants in our industry with old traditional varieties. And we're looking for varieties that are in fact better and superior to some of those existing lines. And that's what I wanted to show you this morning, because we found a very special form of hydrangea that I think you're going to enjoy growing in your garden. And part of that enjoyment is being able to be outside, surrounded by nature and all the beautiful bounties that comes with growing plants. Now, needless to say, for me, being out in my garden is a place that's just so relaxing, and it brings with it a sense of serenity and tranquility. To listen to swishing sounds of grasses like these moving gently in the breeze. And then look at how the pollinating insects and butterflies and little birds are flitting around the garden, wonders of nature right there on our doorstep. And to plant something and to watch it grow and develop, these are very special things that I think help us adjust to all the hustle and bustle that we go through in daily life. And we need time to just take it easy, de-stress, and enjoy the rewarding achievements of being able to watch something grow and develop through the seasons. And talking about developing through the season, let me take you now and show you that hydrangea I was talking about, because it really is a beautiful, I would say, spectacular variety that we're just proud to tell you about. And here it is. This is Hydrangea WorryFree Love-A-Lot Pink. And this is a truly wonderful variety. Here we are now in the autumn time with its spectacular red flowers. But let me tell you that this plant started flowering during the summertime. It started out with greenish white flowers, then went through to these huge big conical flower heads that were a pristine gleaming white. And then as the season progressed, it started to take on some of this pink colouring. And then that gradually developed from the base of the conical head all the way up to the tip, giving a nice kind of bicolour effect, until then when we started to get into cooler nights and shorter days, it started to develop this deeper pink color, and now, as you see, going through to red. And it's amazing in that very long flowering period, it's just kept flowering and flowering and flowering and giving color and beautiful effect all through that very lengthy period. When some of the other varieties that we grow here in our trials turn a kind of beige brown color, this just continued to get better and better. It's a plant that is nice and vigorous and strong growing with very healthy foliage, and yet it only gets to about 5 foot high by about 5 foot wide, so it's a very good size for our gardens. And because it's a panicle hydrangea, it's very hardy. Now we have it rated here as a zone 5 plant, which means that it's hardy right throughout our region. But because panicle hydrangeas come from very cold parts of Japan and Sakhalin, the Russian-controlled Sakhalin Island, and up into Korea, these are probably even much hardier than that. We haven't really tested it there yet, but we suspect strongly that it's going to be hardy, probably even to zone 3, would you believe? But the main thing about this plant is just its ability to give you that long season, but also the fact that this is so vigorous and strong growing and produces very strong sturdy stems that, unlike some of the older varieties that tend to flop with thin wimpy stems and the big heads hang over and touch the ground, look at this plant. Sturdy, stocky, putting up with summer storms if it has to, but more importantly than that, giving off its flowers in this lovely vertical interest. That's what makes this a superior plant and why it's in our WorryFree collection. And one of the fabulous things about having those strong sturdy stems is that they make wonderful tree form hydrangeas too. This is where, instead of growing them as a bush type shrub, we train up a single stem and then allow them to make a head and form a little tree. And as you see, you get this magical effect of having all of these beautiful icy white flower heads sticking up so prominently on those sturdy stems. And if you've ever grown some of the old-fashioned PG hydrangeas, you know, the ones that grow up and then they begin to droop over and become floppy, well, look at all these plants. Every single flower is sitting up strong and prominently and sturdy. I don't see in all of these plants one single branch that's drooping over and looking floppy. That's what makes this such a superior plant, whether you grow it as a garden shrub or like these as tree form hydrangeas. Beautiful. It's a really terrific plant that's been developed by one of Europe's premier breeders, Jan Kran. He started breeding plants back in the 1980s, and he's developed several notable plants, of which we feature in some of our other videos here in this channel. And right now he's working on Baptisias, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be coming forward with in years to come when he works on that particular genus. But this variety was one that he planted out in 2010 and then watched it, believe it or not, for 10 years, evaluating it, carefully watching it, seeing how it performs. And then our very good friend Peter van Ryssen, who's a real character and just like myself loves his plants and is passionate about gardening. I'm not sure who's the more passionate about plants, but one thing I know is that it was he and his company, Concept Plants, that introduced us to this variety first. We got it here. We trialled it out in the nursery. We grew it on in pots. And right from the start, we could tell that this was a plant with a lot of promising potential. To make sure that it was going to grow well here in this region and in average garden conditions, just like you would have at home, we planted it out here in amongst all the other varieties that we're trialling. And now when we've been watching it for 4, going on 5 years, during that time it's just got better and better and better. And these beautiful big flower heads are wonderful for growing as cut flowers, and because it has these strong stems, it means that you can use these in large arrangements like weddings and ballrooms and church arrangements. And basically, if you have a big room and you're looking for something that's going to make impact in a floral arrangement, guess what? This will be perfect. But more importantly than that, it's a garden plant that has par excellence qualities, a superb variety that we know is a really good performer, and we can't wait until you get a chance to see it in our garden centres, so that then you'll be able to see it and touch it, admire it, plant it, and hopefully enjoy growing it too. It's a very, very good plant that I hope, just maybe, will bring you a little bit extra of what I call H&C, that highly sought after thing that's called happiness and contentment. This is David Wilson. Enjoy your gardening. It's very good for us, and it's wonderful for our environment too.